You ever felt like you're sitting in the back row of your own education? Well, today, we're going to dig into how the right kind of technology can completely transform that classroom experience, making every single seat the best seat in the house.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're stuck way in the back, you're squinting at some screen that's way too small, and you just feel totally disconnected from what's happening. It's this universal feeling. But you know what? It really doesn't have to be the reality.
So before we jump into all the cool solutions, we've got to diagnose the problem. Let's talk about these common, kind of invisible barriers that, for a long time, we've all just sort of accepted as normal. Okay, first up, the screen itself. A 65 or even 75-inch display sounds pretty big, right? But for the students sitting in the back third of the classroom, it's practically unreadable. You can't learn if you can't even see what's being taught. It's as simple as that. Then you've got this classic issue. The teacher turns around to write on the whiteboard or even a fancy interactive display. And the second that happens, poof, eye contact is gone, engagement just plummets, and that connection with the entire class, it's broken. And what about this? A student in the front row asks a brilliant question, but nobody in the back has any idea what they said. It just creates this choppy, disjointed conversation where half the class is left completely in the dark, trying to piece it all together. And finally, just think about a teacher who wants to show, say, a specific paragraph in a textbook, or maybe some handout. The old hold it up for the class to see method, well, it just doesn't work, does it? There's really no simple, effective way to share those physical things with the whole room. Okay, so those are the problems, and they're pretty big ones. But now, let's get to the good stuff, the solution. It all starts with building a brand new foundation that we'll call the enhanced classroom. Let's see what that actually looks like. And wow. The difference is night and day. We go from that frustrating old setup, teacher's back is turned, screens are tiny, questions get lost, to a whole new environment, one with constant eye contact, a big, clear display for absolutely everyone, and audio that makes every single voice heard. So how do we make this happen? Well, it's a system where every piece plays a part. You've got a great audio system with a mic for the teacher, so they're always heard. A conference monitor in front of them means they never, ever have to turn their back. An annotation podium lets them write while facing the class. And a ceiling visualizer that can display any document or object instantly for everyone to see.
All right, so we've totally upgraded the live in-person experience. That's huge. So what's the next logical step? Well, it's capturing it all, making sure that amazing lesson can be reviewed later or seen by students who were absent.
And you might think this part is complicated, but it's actually incredibly simple. You just add a smart camera that automatically follows the teacher, you hook it up to a recording device, and just like that, you're capturing the whole lesson, the teacher, the content, everything, with almost no extra effort. Now, let's talk about scaling this up. We're talking about those big lecture halls in universities, where just hearing the person 3 rows ahead of you is a real challenge. So how in the world you give every single student a voice in a space like that? Well, the answer is a pretty cool concept called voice lift. Now, this isn't about making the teacher louder. It's a really sophisticated system of ceiling mics and speakers that just gently boosts the volume of a student's question so everyone in the room can hear it perfectly. And this is the absolute key point, you guys. This technology is all about the students. It's not for the teacher. It's about creating a conversation where every single person can contribute and, crucially, be heard by the entire class. So what's the impact? Well, a typical voice lift system gives you about 12 decibel boost. Now, that might just sound like a number, but in the world of audio, that is the difference between straining to hear and just effortless clarity. It makes a massive difference. But for even larger rooms, or maybe more formal settings, there's another level up. It's called sound reinforcement. In this setup, students have their own dedicated microphones, maybe one shared between 2 seats. It's a much more active system, and it gives you an even bigger audio boost. And you can see the difference pretty clearly here. While that voice lift gives you a really helpful 12 dB boost, sound reinforcement cranks it all the way up to 20 dB. This is the heavy-duty solution for those really large spaces where clarity just cannot be compromised. So we've looked at all the individual pieces of the puzzle. Now let's put them all together. Let's build the ultimate classroom experience by combining all these solutions to get the maximum possible impact. The great thing is, this isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It's more like a pathway you can follow. You can start small, just by enhancing the local teaching experience. From there, you can add recording. As the rooms get bigger, you bring in voice lift, and then layer recording on top of that. And for the biggest of the big spaces, sound reinforcement is your answer, again, with the option to record everything. It's a really clear journey to a totally state-of-the-art classroom. And this is so important to remember. At the end of the day, the goal here isn't just to collect a bunch of cool new gadgets. It's about designing a complete, totally integrated system where every single component works together to create an environment where people can actually learn better. And that really brings us to a much bigger idea. I mean, if we can solve this fundamental problem, if we can actually make every seat the best seat in the house, what else does that unlock? It kind of forces us to rethink not just the classroom, but the whole nature of teaching and learning itself. What other assumptions that we've held for so long are finally ready to be reimagined?